that celebrates that art form, and to be part of it, even being here, it's an honor.
It's kind of normal that you're here often because you are always you make some great choices. I mean, from the beginning of your career, when you started in Spain in the 90s, you work with people like Miguel Luna, Moldova, like Amenabar, Alex de la Iglesia. It was a great generation. It was a great generation. There was something happening. There was like a young directors, a young actor were exploding at the time. What kind of memories do you keep of this time in Spain and this work with Big Ass or with Alex and all these people?
Well, the memory that I have is that I was 20 years old and and life was different, and also the way of making movies was different, and movies were an event that it will be open in a theater and it can last for a year if it goes well. No? Today, movies, the most, it can last a month and a half or 2 months on screen. So we live in a different time of speed and lack of, I don't know, some kind of attention, because we have so many choices to put our attention to that it's hard to define just one. But when I started, it was different. It was like you will do a role and you will spend the whole time preparing that role, and you will do a movie like a sacred thing. And then it will open and it will create a climate, and then it will mean something. Now we are going so fast, and I'm sorry, I feel sorry for the people who start. I know there are many students today here. I don't know what it means to be trying to make movies today as an actor or director or producer, writer, because the rhythm is so different from where I started. So what I remember the most is the pace. It was a different pace. That's the aim, that's what you're aiming for when you play a role, to try to find the psychology and the character behavior and personality traits that makes that person unique and comparable to another person. That's the psychology part of my job that I love so much. I guess I also like to draw, and I always paint faces, bodies. I'm not interested in landscapes or in buildings or cars. I like faces, I like expressions, I like the eyes, I'm addicted to see people's behavior on the street. It's hard for me sometimes because people recognize me and then you are observed rather than being the observer. But with the mask on, the only good thing about the fucking pandemic shit is that I can have a mask on and I can watch. No. But then you watch the half of the person, so you don't see the whole part, but at least you see the eyes. But what I mean is, that's the part of the job that I like the most, the psychology, the thing that differentiates us. And that's what I always try to aim for, because that's what I think makes a character more unique. Now, I know when you play a role, some of that essence stays with you while you're doing it and after you do it. And then it goes. And you go, oh no, I didn't want Ramon to go. Or even before Night Falls, Reinaldo Arenas, because those spirits are spirits of people who sacrifice themselves for our rights as human beings. And that's a beautiful thing to embody.
The movie started a huge debate, especially in Spain, but international debate about the question. Is an actor proud, or is it pride, or is it like I don't know if it's joy or pleasure, or I don't know how you want to call it, when his movie becomes something else than just a movie and start a national debate in this case, and I remember in France there was a big debate about the question too. Is it something important for you?
Well, it's when what you are expecting or aiming or hoping, wishing that what you do makes sense, really makes sense. You entertain, you go there and play a role, and you want the audience to have fun or to go through emotions, whatever. But at the bottom line is, what am I telling? Is this helping us to move forward, to progress, to be better in a certain way? Yes or no? Some movies don't. Some movies help us to be worse. It really brings out the worst of us in some way. Violence, for example. But when you do the see inside and you see how the debate opens, and how last year 17 years later, the euthanasia law was approved in Spain. That's a major change. And I know that that movie put its grain of sand into the conversation that now has become a law, an established law in my country, which is a very good thing in my opinion. A supermarket, cash machine with an iron stick. And I went there, do you want the rubber stick? No, give me the iron one, man. A method. And I did this, and I broke the 3 tendons, and they had to stop the shooting for 2 months. They wait for me. Thank Marino Barroso is a great director, great friend. He waited for me. That day I learned like, nah, none of that shit. Meaning, it's important that the artist, actor, call it whatever you want, is healthy enough to portray sickness. We need the actor to be healthy to portray sickness. If the actor is sick, he won't be able to portray sickness. Every time I do a movie, last time I did a movie called The Road's Not Taken with Sally Potter, and I was playing this dementia guy. I did all the tests with my doctors to make sure that I don't have that problem. Like I did the prosthetic cancer test for Beautiful. I need to know that I'm healthy in order to play that I'm sick. Because otherwise, I won't be creative enough, I won't be free enough. I will be so linked to the pain of the character that I won't be able to see anything else than the pain. And there's no one character that is always pain. There is no one character that is always pain. It has to be also love, compassion, sadness, joy. I mean, there are many colors. That's what makes this job so beautiful. So if you get too much linked to the madness of the character, you're gonna lose perspective of what that person represents. So that's what I mean is, if you're gonna play someone who's mad, go to a psychiatrist, make sure that you're fine, you're healthy, and then you can portray madness with lots of freedom and lots of joy, which is what we need. Broken in a way that I haven't been broken in, I don't know, all my life. For the love, gratitude, and admiration I have for her as a woman, as a mother, as a friend. But then, funny enough, I have to go to Atlanta to shoot a musical with a crocodile, where I play the party guy. So it was the opposite of how I felt. And I remember my mother, I was talking to her before she died about that movie, and she said, you have to do it for your kids, but for the kids, for the children. They deserve to have fun, to dream, to enjoy, to dance, to sing. They deserve to be happy on a theater. And when she died, I had to go there and do the opposite of how I felt. And that's how much I appreciate what I do and what we do and what we love doing, because there are many students here or people that love cinema, because really gives you the opportunity to live a different life. So I learned how to be happy and fun and loving and peaceful and full of music when they say action, and when they say cut, I was miserable. I was sad and broken and missing my mother so much. And I felt like a schizophrenic in some way, but also I felt pleased to know that I had a job that allows that. It's not an office, or it's not a place in the highway where you have to pay that's hard. I have a job that allows me to put that into the work. And I always thought as an homage to my mother that has been doing this work for 50 years. And the love for what I was doing, it was the love for her. That was a hard moment, but it was also a moment that put me very much in connection with my mom in a way that I've never felt so close to my mom like today, for example, or like yesterday or tomorrow. She's so present today and every day. And what can I say? What it was hard almost a year ago, now it's a bliss. And that's, I guess, what we have to create. Overcome that moment because it will bring some jewels into it. It's hard to imagine that there is jewels, there is a reason, there is something that we can learn from. But there's always something to learn from. And when you pass the storm and you're on the shore, you go like, okay, thank you for that gift. When you ask me that question, is that my answer is just, what do I want? To keep living in peace. To keep living and try to help people around me, to my little community, which is my family, my friends, my neighbors, whatever, to be in peace, to be in peace. In peace in the sense that I don't want to be right, I want to be loving. I don't need to fight to make you understand that I am right and you're wrong. I just want to understand you and try to understand you, which is very difficult because maybe your opinion is going to hurt me, but I have to live with your opinion. And as the genius said, I will die for you to be able to express your opinion that I'm so against it. And that's the world we live in. And when these things happen, it reminds us, or reminds me of my 53-year-old, how vulnerable everything is. How in a second, these families that were also enjoying movies in theaters and theater plays, and they get it back and they go under the shelter of the underground, and they are bombed in a day. So what I mean is, I don't want big things, I just want little important things, like to be in peace, like we are now, in silence, in peace, easy, nothing major, nothing big. That's what I want.
It's pretty big.
It's very difficult.
I mean, like this, it's pretty big.
It is very, but also it's very small. I mean, compared to other things that we may think of ourselves, and that's, I guess that's what I mean. Like, not be too ambitious with anything. Just try to go step by step and respect others. I mean, it's feel empathy for others. That's the only thing. And it's hard. It's not easy. There's many people I don't like. There's many people I don't like what they're doing, what they're saying, what they are promoting, politically speaking, what they're allowing. But I guess the forced, violent opposition to that is only create pain and more violence. And that's something that we have to learn. And it's not easy, but we have to. We are condemned to learn that. That we have to achieve that in a different way, rather than bombing, killing, accusing, cursing, beating up, kicking. I mean, that's not the way for anything. And but it's in our nature, and this reminds us that it's in our nature, and we are that as well. People that can be killed in a second, and we can kill in a second as well. So we have to equilibrate that with some love, I guess. We're opening Beautiful in New York, and Mr. Al Pacino was doing Merchant of Venice, and he went from the theater to the place where we're having the dinner after the screening in New York just to say hi. Just that made me almost cry, because I met him a couple of times, and for me it's like, so he approached Penelope and he saw the womb and he touched the womb, and I said to him, he might be an actor. Like saying that would be so wrong. No? And he laughed, kept touching, and he said, I wish he can be an actor. And I thought, shit, right, yeah, it's not a bad thing to be an actor, actually. Like, I've always thought to be an actor is a lesser job. It's something that doesn't matter. It's something that really doesn't make any difference. That we are not giving anything to the world. We're not making the world better like your people. We're just making fucking movies or theater plays or TV shows. But when Al Pacino said that, it's like, fuck, it's true. We can do things that mean something to someone. If you're lucky, not every time, but if you're lucky. And just because of that moment is worth the whole career. So, welcome. And all the best luck with you and your career, and I hope you find that moment where you and what you do means something to someone, because that's worth it to follow all your life.